My guest is based in Sehiri and 2 or 3 years ago, Sehiri was just an ordinary town in Ghana. Now it is a regional capital. He is the regional minister for the Western North, and Sehiri is the capital. And from there, he has come to the studios of Citi TV after a few months since he took over office as the regional minister. Joojo Obeng, you're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you, Umaru.
How are you?
I'm doing very well.
You look like the youngest regional ministers. Have you done that analysis, or there are people who are younger than you?
I get that from my colleague regional ministers.
Okay, but you haven't checked whether maybe you are the youngest, because you look innocent. You look very innocent.
I may be the youngest.
Okay.
I may be, because I'm not quite familiar with everyone's age.
Okay.
So
okay.
I could be looking at the many comments I get about the chance that I could be the youngest. I should take it so.
You were a vandal, so it's not fair to describe you as innocent. You may just look innocent, but if the vandalism comes out, or it's not vandal is not the same as vandalism.
I'm a vandal, yes, and you could have vandalism expressing itself in a very, very cordial, meticulous, and in a very calm manner. And if that is what constitutes the look of an innocent person, I could be that vandal who looks so innocent, yes.
But does vandalism connote, does being a vandal connote vandalism, or it is a wrong interpretation of what your creed is?
So there is nothing wrong with one, being a vandal, and two, vandalism. So
how? Vandalism means destruction, and most of it is unlawful. You're saying that there's...
So our understanding as vandals in Commonwealth Hall is that we come together, raise awareness about societal issues, and attempt to provide a solution. That is my understanding. And my understanding then, and remains same as a vandal.
Talk to us about your days at the University of Ghana, before we get to your region.
Well, I was a student who read economics and statistics, and then played a little with student leadership. I got nominated to be the General Assembly member for Commonwealth Hall, also the secretary for the National Union of Ghana Students for the University of Ghana campus, and eventually ran for the office of the SRC president. Yes.
But did you win?
I didn't.
You lost. Were you cheated, or you just didn't campaign enough, or your message was just not?
Actually, there was no loss there. As a student, you are supposed to look into two major things: academic, and then the extracurricular activities. All of these are supposed to give you some amount of experiences to guide you to move on into adult life in a much coordinated way. So not being able to get to the end as SRC president may not have been the ultimate goal, but the processes and that I submitted myself to is the result of what we see today.
Talk to us about reforms you think our public universities should be engaging in. As someone who has been a student leader, and now you're in national government, what are the things you think can be cured or should be cured in our public universities?
So the observation I have made is that we need to bring more synergy between what the private sector sets as an agenda for its profit objectives and what the universities also focus on. If there is any major reform that will inure to the benefits of society, the university community, and students, I think this is one very, very important observation that I have made, that whatever the university set out to do, to teach, to research into, must be in sync with what the private sector hopes to achieve in the future.
Private sector, not government.
Government already has it cut out for it, and it is to provide public good. That obviously remains the core mandate of all government. But there's a lot of fluidity within the private sector. You know, so many years ago, if you wanted a message passed across, you had to sit behind a typewriter. If you were a university and you got so stuck into training people there, you would later realize that you would have been smarter if you looked into the balls of the private sector, which was then moving into technology, moving into the digital space. So a lot do not change as much as a lot do not change in the public sector as much as in the private sector. It's so fluid. And I think the university must have them in focus.
I see. Do you have a public university in your region?
Not yet. But
is there any plan to put up one?
Yes. We have started a conversation to, Western North is largely a semi-deciduous forest area. And not only that, a lot of our people, their mainstay is agriculture. So we are talking to relevant state agencies that have the budget, to come there and set up. I think my predecessor, the former minister, Honorable Kingsley Abuaji-Jedu, left on my desk a very important note that chronicles his effort at trying to get one such university there. And the reference was made to Cocoa Board. And I've taken it up seriously.
Okay. So, but there isn't a government plan to put a university in Western North as yet. There isn't a national government plan, not that I am aware of.
Well, government, the NPP government has, as you may be aware, prioritized education. And education at all the levels, from the very basic to the tertiary level. But to get a university into a region, you need to put up a compelling case in an atmosphere where we do not have a lot of resources to play around with. Which is why when you say government, I try so much to look at government through some very strategic state institutions that have something to do with my region. Not to say that there should be a bigger declaration by, say, a government functionary to say we are going to put up universities in all newly created regions. No, I think it is for us as major stakeholders in this government to look within the government itself and see if we can pluck that from any of the state agencies.
Okay. So let us go back and talk more about your region and what you have, the opportunities there, the challenges, and what you're doing. I know you're big on education and so on. But let's quickly talk about your entry into national politics. Did your student politics have an influence on your entry into national politics? And was that student politics influenced by NDC or MPP politics at the national level?
To be very honest with you, as a student then, I observed there was the need for all of us as students and the university community to come together to address an issue. The issue had to do with getting students the opportunities to get into the world of work whilst they are still students. At the time we were there, there was no structured arrangement for students to go on mass internship. And I felt it was very, very necessary that whatever students were studying, they needed to have a sneak peek into what lies ahead. And so I decided to get into the race to become a student leader because I wanted to help solve a problem. That is primarily the motivation, to help solve a problem and not to be interested in identifying myself with any of the political parties. But in the process, you get to also ask very deeper questions about which of your methods or your approach best sits with any of the political parties. And so once you're able to find satisfactory answers to that, then it creates a certain path for you to warm yourself into national politics.
So you didn't have your political party planned for you before you entered Legon? You chose a party after you entered Legon, or you already knew which party you were supporting?
So as kids, I remember in 1992 when Professor Edubuahe ran for office, we were holding, a lot of his posters because a family house was used as the office for then NPP. But really, you didn't have a better understanding of what was going on. As you age, you begin to ask deeper questions. You probe to find out what does the NPP, the NPP stands for. And I'm sure there have been a number of cases where people who were in my kind of situation departed from their tradition, perhaps because when they subjected that to value judgment, it didn't sit well with them in their adult life. Mm-hmm. I was so fortunate that, yes, I had NPP next door, but when I pursued the leadership drive at the university and began to ask questions, I was so lucky that it sat well with the NPP as a political party, which is to focus development more within the private sector.
So that's what you pushed and eventually you got through. But how easy was it for you to enter national politics and join the NPP?
So
did you start from your region or you started from Accra?
After university, a lot of us play around within the capital city, or for the obvious reason, either to create economic opportunity for yourself or to look for an employment opportunity. Yeah. I happened to be with the former. I was looking to stay in Accra to create economic opportunities for myself. Mm-hmm. And whilst I did, we still found it's necessary to incorporate in whatever we're doing at the time the business of politics, because politics runs in our homes, in our offices. Mm-hmm. I mean, politics is basically about asking questions about the best way to develop a process, a nation, a system.
Mm-hmm. So you found that it was a natural thing, and then in the national capital you gravitated, and then you started dealing with it. Did you ever hold a position in your region, or you were based purely in Accra?
So politics at all levels is very basic. Basic in a sense that you would have to connect with the unit structure of your political party and then take it a notch up, as we term it here, the constituency level, and then the regional, and then the national. That is what others term as a base. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have had a lot of dealings with Western North in terms of the political setup. Before its creation, I was one of the lead advocates. And not only that, I was also a doing member of the region who called for its creation, did a lot of road trips, with other like-minded, indigents of the region, toured, visited a lot of palaces, visited a lot of the chiefs to speak to them about the need to rally our people for the region to be created. As a political role, I did support my party in the constituency and in the region. I was made a regional patron of the New Patriotic Party. I was made the regional D-Day coordinator for the 2020 elections, responsible for setting up the installation, for the transmission of the results, and the distribution of resources for party business within the region.
I see. So you never really held an executive position at any level in the party?
Not
elected.
Elected position.
You didn't contest any elected position.
Not.
So how did you get the attention of the government to be part of the government? Because you were part of the first Akufo-Addo government. And that would have meant you really caught someone's eye. How did you do that if you were not on the ground, either contesting some youth organizer position or something? How did you get that? Because you were one of the deputy CEOs in the last administration.
So when it comes to the issue of nomination to be a regional minister for a region, First, let us recognize that it is the sole decision of the president. But all executive presidents, they know that the regional minister will be their representative in those jurisdictions. And so, in their consideration for someone to take up that office, as you may be aware, a lot of consideration goes in there. And as general acceptability by the key stakeholders of the region is one. They may want to know, if you were president, you wouldn't want to appoint a regional minister who may have a lot of brushes with the chieftaincy system within the region. If you were the president, you would want to also nominate someone who would be accepted by the generality of your party base in that region. And a lot of factors, such as the ones that I have mentioned, all of these are considered by executive president. I like to take it that His Excellency the President, who did me the honor, in his own wisdom, was very much convinced that my choice as a regional minister sits very well with the people of the Western North region, and also sit well with his governments and the agenda that he has for the people of the Western North region.
We woke up one day before election 2020 and were told that you and your colleague deputy and your boss had been fired by the president. That surely would be a blot on your politics, isn't it?
No, Umaru, you see, the business of politics, the way it runs, we have to begin to reorient people. When you work as a group to secure political power, the power base looks at the strength of each and every one and offers opportunities that are available for its members to exploit, to help prosecute its agenda. It should not at any point in time be considered to be a private reserve for anybody. The call to public service, it is a call to public service, and oftentimes it is tied to specific tasks. We were put into office to help facilitate youth development. In the wisdom of the president, at some point in time, he needs to find a replacement for some of his team members. It's just like, being in a football team. The president is the coach. All the appointees are the players.
Except that...
Just hold it. All the appointees are the players. If any player is deemed in the eyes of the coach not to be at their very best, he calls the player out, replaces him. But in the subsequent matches, when the coach feels so comfortable that that particular player has recovered fully and that they are in their best shape, he brings them back. And oftentimes they even come and score most of the goals.
And he brought you back.
They come and score most of the goals that we applaud.
So the president brought you back, except that your departure, and indeed your team's departure, was, embroiled in some corruption. And that clearly affects the government's grand agenda to fight corruption. So that if this is a government that came and said I was incorruptible, I could not be corrupted, and then we wake up and 3 people have been fired and there's corruption smelling in the atmosphere, that's problematic.
I think what should set that record straight for everyone is the fact that since my nomination, I've had to submit myself, my records, my integrity, and that of the decision of the president to have me nominated to parliamentary test. I had to meet the Parliamentary Vetting Committee, and they do a lot of checks. They do a lot of background checks to satisfy themselves as to whether one is in good standing in terms of the issues you have raised, and then they give you a pass. So sitting here, not as a rejected minister nominee, but as a minister for Western North region, should better answer this, those who have that kind of
that you have
concern.
A clean bill of health. This is Face to Face on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is the Western North Regional Minister. I asked why they didn't find a more creative name to give the region than Western North. It's Joojo Obeng. When we come back, we'll talk about the region, the potentials there, the challenges there, and his drive to fix education. Stay with us.
It's a good day to meet every challenge. It's a good day to want more out of life. It's a good day to wish for it, work for it, go get it. Familiar taste, a delicious indulgent with a flavor you just can't hide. Refreshing energy, gives so much for so little. For a strong performance, you've come to the right place. Good Day Energy Drink. Why wait a minute to enjoy a good day when every second counts? Good Day Energy Drink keeps you going. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to your health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
What's cooking? How about finding new ways to use your favorite ingredients? Just cut across like this, and then bring it down this way. And then you have your diced onions. Very simple. Take your meals to the very next level. AJ, see, on this one, just put in a tiny bit of the
oil. Oh,
yes.
So
this is the mixture.
Oil.
So this is the mixture, the coconut oil and the...
Okay.
Join me, Apioko, on What's Cooking as I tour various kitchens to bring you new recipes and delicacies.
Oh, what's that?
I'm savory. Honey.
Yeah, give me some honey.
Oh, you want some honey? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's sugar already. It's a blend.
Watch What's Cooking right here on Citi TV.
You're welcome back to Face on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is a regional minister for one of the newly created regions, Western North. Many people would be judging all you regional ministers with Henry Quartey. He's all day on the road, demolishing structures, giving instructions, clearing traffic and all of that. Are you going to be a Henry Quartey type of minister, or you're going to chart your own path? Because Henry Quartey seems to be exciting everybody. He's behaving like Rollins, entering the gutters and cleaning.
I mean, Henry Quartey is my senior in government, and all of us as regional ministers have shown so much support. If you recall, not long ago, we have had to join him on one of those many trips, to help sanitize the city when we had the regional ministers conference. He's doing so well for our capital city, and we continue to urge him to do even more. And I'm so excited that he has your support and the very good things that you said about him. I wish the Ghanaian people listen to you and then focus more on this drive so that they help make our city work better for everyone. Now, you see, if you look into the geography of our nation, every region may have different issues that should be prioritized. Greater Accra is the capital region. That's the region that hosts the capital city. Mm-hmm. The population density and the effort that one has to put in to sanitize this type of a system may differ in other regions. But what I know is that other regional ministers have looked into their regions, identify items or issues that they deem of similar urgency, such as what Honorable Quartey attaches to making the capital city work. And they are busy at it working. It will not be the best of situation to want to have, say, the Eastern Regional Minister take the shape of the Western North Regional Minister, because the issues that pertain in the Eastern region may be different, and the issues that confront the people in the Eastern region may be different from those in the Western North region. So you are likely to have excelling regional ministers in their own right within their own jurisdiction. And so that is the kind of regional ministers you should expect from across the length and breadth of the country.
So they'll have their personal drive based on what their region requires, and they'll deal with that. We shouldn't expect the same thing in Accra to be replicated in, say, upper west or what. That's essentially what you're trying to say.
That will not be smart leadership. That you look at, you live in Western North region, which is full of, let's say, basic commodities. Extractive industry is so heavy in that region. And you want to just take a look at what is happening elsewhere without subjecting that to critical analysis and say, I want to repeat it here.
Let's get
there isn't much traffic in my regional capital.
Okay, let's get to know your region now. So a lot has been said as to why the regions were created. The government put up a strong defense. The MPP and NDC campaigned together for this particular thing to be birthed. But let's talk about the region as you have gone to take over now. The challenges, the opportunities, and how you believe you can move the people forward and how you can bring the local governance to their doorstep. But because I said I was going to ask why you didn't choose a creative name, why did you just settle on Western North? It's almost like your umbilical cord is still tied to Western region.
So Western North, Western region, which part of Ghana do the two lie?
It lies in Western North, but
so there you go.
But we have
so
OT region.
If
you don't even know that they are from Volta region. OT is, completely different. Savannah region is out of North, but in Western you're still anyway. It's inconsequential. Let's not. What are the major towns in Western North?
So Western North has 3 municipalities.
Only 3.
3 municipalities and 6 districts.
Oh, so you have 9 local authorities.
Administrative areas,
okay.
Yes. And oftentimes, you'll find the bigger towns within the municipalities. So you would have Sehuyoso, the capital.
So that's also a municipality.
Very beautiful city. Very, very beautiful city. Hilly, green, and calm.
Okay.
Then you would have Bibiani, the goat city.
So that's Bibiani is noted. Or separate?
So Bibiani is the capital for the Bibiani Amianso Bekwai municipality.
Okay.
Bibiani is one of the big cities within Western North region. And then you have Enchi, which is the capital of Awowin municipality. Yes. So there are a lot of bigger towns, bigger in their own right. If you were to look at, say, Asawinso, which is within the Sehuyoso municipality, it cuts for the description of what you were looking for as big towns. It has a voting population of over 15,000 people. That is how big that town is.
So it would be like your Kaswa or your Ashaiman inside Accra, something like that?
Yes, except that it is far away from, a bit far from the capital.
Okay.
Unlike Kaswa and Accra,
I see.
Which in terms of the distance is very close. Yes.
Since we're discussing distance, it brings us into the issue of transportation or roads. What is the state of roads in your region? Has there been any construction since you came? Or since you were created as a new region? So
that is a very, very important question. It is one of the benefits we have derived as a region, for having clamored for some, separation, if you permit me to use that word, Since the creation of Western North region, some of the major trunk roads are now under construction.
So which roads would these be?
The Benchiman Kwanta Ajo Fuase Kotorum, that takes you all the way from the Sehuyoso municipality, through the Dwaboso municipality, through the Bia West municipality, up to the Bia East area. That is a major, major road within the region, and it is under construction. Okay. You should make time and come over to have a look at the type of road that is being fixed there. First-class road by first-class contractor. Amandi is doing a great job over there. And then you have one of the roads which used to be so popular for not it being so nice, but because of how bad it used to be. the Enchi-Elobo Road. It is under construction by Top Engineering, which a company that fixed the Enchi-Asankrejo Road for well over 10 years. You can't even find a pothole on that road. And that is also under construction. And so the president, Nana Addo Dankwa, has done so much for Western North in terms of road construction. And then you look at the Sefioso Nsaura road, it's been fixed. And as I talk to you, when you get to Pataboso, Nkwanta, all the way to Kunkumso, to Chirano, that road is also under construction.
I must confess,
and all of these are being fixed because we have to submit them as trunk roads within a region.
Okay.
If we were to be part of the old Western region, these roads would have to be traded off for some other roads in the now Western region.
I must confess, I've never been to the Western North. I've been to the Western region, never been to the Western North region. We know of the Eastern Corridor, which is a road on the eastern side of the country connecting the south to the north. Do we have a Western Corridor which moves from Takrady to Sewa through Bole? Do you have something like that?
Also, we have roads that connect, but they meander through the middle belt of the country.
Okay.
And so you have a lot of, from the western region, running through Takwa, Bogoso, Pristia, all the way to Wasekrupon, Ayamfure, and then it crosses into my region, into the Bekwai area, moving to Bibiani.
Bekwai is Ashanti.
We have Sefi Bekwai,
Okay.
a very big town as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Bekwai area, and then move from Bibiani, then you do a turn into Kumasi. So you have it not in the same form as the Eastern Corridor.
So it ends in Kumasi, it doesn't continue upwards towards Wa.
So it doesn't continue through Ahafo,
Okay.
which is on top of us.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't. There is no such.
There isn't
project.
even a blueprint to have a road like that.
These are some of the things as new regions working together with.
Because I'm looking at it nationalistically. If we have a central corridor,
Yes.
which is Accra through Kofredwa or Nsawam, it depends on what you use, to Kumasi and continues to Tamale through to Bolga, we should also have an eastern corridor, which we have from Asikuma Junction, goes through Nkwanta, Oti, Damanko, and then it goes up all the way to Boko. We should have another one for the western side, because it started well in the south, except that when you got to your place, it lost the plot, which I find a bit curious. Is it that there are no huge settlements that require an international route going through them? Because if you carried cargo from Takrady port and you're taking it to Burkina Faso, you could easily go through that route, and Tawa, and then you are in Hamile border and you are gone. What do you think?
So if you picked goods from Takrady port, you would ask your question, which parts of the country receive most of their goods through the Takrady port? Or which of our neighbors, say Burkina, Ivory Coast, which of them receive a lot of their goods through the Takrady port? You would realize that we do trade a lot with our neighbors to the west.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast. And so the road from Takrady running through the Nzema areas, first-class road is being fixed. I think there has to be a compelling economic need for a road to be constructed, and it is not that we want to label them as Eastern Corridor, Western Corridor, Central Corridor. They must make a lot of economic sense. As it stands now, as a region, we do so much with our neighbors to the south. Okay, and the roads are already linked. They have been constructed. They are there. And we do to our neighbors to the center part of the state. As we develop as a nation, we may find the need for us to even draw a line through the very south of the western all the way to the very north of the west of our country. But as it is now, we are yet to get to that point. And so we should not trade off the priority roads, those that make a lot of economic sense now, for the obvious reason of wanting to label a road as being a one-line road from the very south to the north.
Joe Garte, when he was Minister for Railways, has given us a plan. It has a central corridor, the eastern corridor, and the western corridor rail tracks. Is there any rail line in your region?
Yes.
From where to where?
But the unfortunate thing is that it is one of those lines that must be rehabilitated.
So you don't have a rail line.
So we had rail lines from Awaso, the bauxite. A lot of it used to be conveyed to the port. Unfortunately, we had issue then in the past. I am talking to the minister responsible for railway development to have that fixed, because the Western North region can take a lot of advantages if that line is fixed. We still remain one of the biggest export of timber products in the country, and it could be a much economically useful avenue to transport the produce. Even the cocoa have to haul some of them to the ports for onward exports.
It's good you're mentioning all these resources.
Putting this on our roads overly burden them and doesn't really help the road to last their lifespan, the estimated lifespan. If we have the railway fixed to complement that, it will do all of us so good. So I have started the process of engaging the sector minister to prioritize fixing the Awaso rail line.
You have cocoa, you have bauxite, you have manganese, you have gold. How has that benefited the people of your region?
It has benefited the people of the region, except that we want, because the region plays host to a lot of people from other parts of Ghana, for the obvious reasons that because of this, you could either find yourself growing cocoa or engage in the timber business or engaged in the mining sector. So it has become a hub receiving a lot of people from other parts of Ghana. Except that we have lived with that system not in a coordinated manner in the past. And I think we need to now coordinate the benefits that come out of these economic activities to provide enough public goods for the residents of the region. Say, for instance, when I see a lot of the timber logs being hauled out of the region, even though we have some timber processing firms in the region, I still believe a lot of the processing must take place there. So we have to now find a way to make that a reality.
Okay.
In terms of the raw materials, how are we able to build more storage facilities so that those who produce, the farmers who produce the plantain, the cocoa, and the other food crops, they can profit from the abundance of their harvest.
Your government promised one district, one warehouse. Do you have them?
And we have one in the Citi also.
And it's helping your farmers.
Yes, it is. But the production levels are such that we should not limit storage facility to government effort. Okay. We have to make it more attractive to the private sector to come in there and invest. Okay. Let me give you an example. On every Tuesday, if you visit the regional capital, Citi, you will see a lot of plantain lined up by the roadside. Some of the cars that are supposed to transport them to Accra and other parts of the country are not able to move them. And once they are not able to move them, it takes away the freshness of it because the people do not have storage facility to have them there. We are able to engage the private sector to at least find a way to price the freshness, which a lot of us desire, those of us who are far from the production hub. So these are some of the areas I like to engage people. Okay. Government has put up the warehouse, but if we were to leave all the production that goes on in the region to government warehouse, we would not be using our full potential.
Talk to me about Galamsey. We've seen the pictures, we've seen the water bodies. I believe you have groundnut soup-like river bodies in your region. How, in your estimation as regional minister, can and should Galamsey be fixed? And what are you doing?
So we have all decided as a nation to go by the roadmap which the president, through his sector minister, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, put up. We should, at this stage in our national life, be able to zone certain parts of Ghana as red zone areas where mining activities mustn't take place. inside water bodies. Tell me, why should somebody be seen to be mining in the middle of a river to destroy the aquatic life of that water body? Tell me, there cannot be any justification, even though you want to extract natural resources, they're good. But in doing so, we must not kill the aquatic life of that river and the communities that are around these water bodies. We should be able to also say to ourselves that within our forest reserves, we should not allow for mining activities that could endanger very, very, very valuable species. Let me give you an example in my region. If you take the Bia Forest Reserve, it is the only forest reserve that hosts the white-breasted guinea fowl. If we allow mining to take place in that reserve, that bird cannot coexist with that kind of activity. It will be extinct. And when it is extinct, because it doesn't find it suitable to live in other parts of the sub-region, we may be not only denied of it and the tourism potential, but we may even denied the whole of the West African sub-region. That tourism income that could let people fly all the way to come and understudy researchers, to understudy the behavior and the prospect of being around the white-breasted guinea fowl. I'm coming. These areas, we should all agree and support the president that at no point should we allow mining to take place on our water bodies. At no point should we allow mining within our forest reserve.
Politics allow you to do this thing you're planning to do?
No, look, we have to take the bull by the horn. Our neighbors in Ivory Coast, they have similar deposits of the resources we have in Ghana. They are extracting them. Are they destroying their environment to extract them? Are we, by this, suggesting that our economic situation is so dire to the point that we have to kill the river life, destroy our forest reserve, just so to survive? To what end? You understand it? So, yes, we have to engage the miners to understand that President Akufo-Addo and his government, they are not against mining. They are for mining because of the economic opportunities and the revenue it gives the state. But they do not also want to encourage people in their quest to find themselves engaged economically, to destroy the future and the foundation of our state. By the way, you have to focus on the fact that our forebears, where I come from, in the Western North region, the river tunnel that is there, the Doswe, which is within the Awomi municipality. When I was growing up as a young man over there, it was a clean water body. That is not the asset they bequeathed to me. They didn't bequeath to me water bodies that have the aquatic life dead and they look so terrible and all of that. So it behoves on all of us to work together that as we engage in economic activities, we protect the environment.
Very well. The free SHS is critical. Indeed, education has been a key agenda for the NPP government, the Akufo-Addo-led NPP government. This new regional minister for the Western North says he has taken education to another level in the region. We hear what he plans to do for the education sector, what he already has done, because you may have a plan but never execute it. Stay with us on Face to Face. When we come back, I'll talk to him about that.
Good Day Energy Drink keeps you going. Available in major supermarkets and shops near you. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to your health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
The Big Issue brings you analysis of the biggest news stories of the week.
The clerk should not assume the role of being the one through whom Kwesi should be served, because Kwesi was not yet a member of parliament and not yet subject to his jurisdiction.
And the thinking has always been that when you come to parliament, you are coming to enrich yourself. Where did they no matter how good you are.
Join me every Saturday morning as we bring context and meaning to the biggest issues of the week.
The MPP has got to quickly wean its mind off the last 4 years, because you're in a false sense of security.
At a point, it was so bad that the President of the Republic then, who was the leader of the New Patriotic Party, President Kufuor, had to issue a statement to encourage the Electoral Commission to declare the winner so he could use the power and the authority of government to ensure that the winner was supported.
My name is Godfred Akutobuafo, and this is The Big Issue. Every Saturday at 10 a.m. only on Citi TV.
You're welcome back to Face on Citi TV. My guest is the Western North Regional Minister, Joojo Obeng. You have this grand agenda you have launched. One child, one desk. Is that what it is that you're doing?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So, since taking office, I have received briefs from all the departmental heads. And normally, it is the standard practice. Once you get into office, the heads of the various government departments are supposed to give you a briefing about what is going on within their sectors. But going into the Western North region as a minister, I represent the president and everything he stands for. His topmost priority has been education. And so I called the regional director of education to take me through the state of affairs within the Western North region. And through my interaction with him, I came to that discovery of an unpleasant reality, that we were in serious deficit, in need of a lot of steady desk for our children. After the brief, I made time to visit some of the schools within the region, and everything that was captured on paper had a reflection on the ground. And you know, I felt that something drastic needed to be done, given our peculiar situation as a region situated within rainforest and semi-deciduous forest, zones. And also knowing very well that in my region we have a lot of timber and milling business going on there. And the issue of desk, which from the account of the regional director of education, has serious effect on the outcomes of education in the region. And he put it in a much simpler way for me to understand how that is the result of what we see at the tail end of every BECE cycle. He makes me understand, look, if you visit a school with a desk, a mono desk is for one person, and then the dual desk is for two to share. Sometimes you visit and the dual desk, you have 3 to 4 people fighting, struggling to sit on it, just to steady. And so when I saw that, I said to myself, this must not be allowed to persist. When I visited your studio, the first thing you did was to offer me a place to sit. But when we send our children to school, the reality that they go there to face is that they have to struggle to find a place to sit. This cannot be, considered to be a normal thing that we should let central government come and fix it. I didn't think, it should be limited to that, because from where I sit, central government takes care of the salaries of the teachers, their condition of service, pays for the school fees of the students, and provides some study materials to help their studies. So I didn't think that we should again hold the same central government that is so tight with resource allocation to necessarily at all costs find the desk before we provide a sitting place for our school children. I think even in so-called developed economies, if you have taken a closer look at how education runs there, their government play a role. And because they may have wealthy individuals and corporations, they also complement their government. say for instance, in the US of A, you have a lot of wealthy people that have set up foundations that are giving scholarship to students in various schools. So we may not have that, but we are able to provide steady desk. That could be our way of complementing our government.
So this is a regional thing or a district thing? Are you doing it in one region, in one district, or throughout the region, the provision of these desks?
So I got the data from all the administrative areas, the 9 administrative areas, and not even one was in surplus. All of them had a deficit to clear.
So have you...
In a region where you have close to 200,000 people at the basic level of our education ladder, the desk deficit stands now somewhere around 67,000, which suggests to myself and your very self that even if we were to do a mixture of the desks along the lines of mono and dual, we are likely to have close to 50,000 students having to struggle to find a place to sit. That is the reality on the ground. I have paid attention to my region for the obvious reasons that, look, we live among trees. And not only that, we have timber companies operating there. They are businesses, yes, I understand. What that do to us is that we are able to get the refined or the finished material at a cheaper price to do desk than somebody in Accra.
So you don't think you should produce it in Accra and ship it back? You should produce it there and then because the raw material is close by. And you get the factories or the companies to supply you. That's what you are going to do.
So what we are going to do is to make sure that every school child within the Western North region, whenever they go to school, they have a desk, they have a place to sit.
And would this be mono desk or dual desk?
It is often a determination by the technical people here, the director of education, at the municipal level, the district level, and at the circuit level.
So they'll determine the nitty-gritties. But your job is to provide the desk for the people.
If you look at the nursery setting, oftentimes they do what they term as the circular desk arrangement. They don't sit in a line arranged form of, as we see.
So your job is to provide the...
It's to provide based on the need analysis.
So how many do you plan to produce or provide the desk? For how many students?
Our task is to clear the deficit that has built on for so many decades of 66,000. Our task is to clear that and also have a system in place. You know how children at that level play with their desk. If you were to supply, let's say in a classroom of 30 students, everyone has a desk. At the primary level, if you give that out today, in a year's time, because of the way children are so playful, you wouldn't have the 30 desks in their original or correct. There may be some breakages.
So you work on maintenance.
So this is a system that is looking at clearing the deficit and also having at the back a plan to do replacement when we are through with the deficit.
Who is going to provide the money?
So like we've said since the beginning of this campaign, that we are looking within the Western North region. I have had stakeholder engagement first with the heads of governments within the various administrative areas to prioritize, and as regional minister, I get to see their budget, to prioritize desk under their education subsection of their budgets every year. And at the launch, all of them pledged, some pledged to the tune of 100,000 Ghana Citi to spend within their DACF allocation on desk because we have set out to clear the deficit. Now, aside dealing with the government heads, I'm also talking, we've actually spoken to a number of the owners of these timber firms and the timber processing firms in the region. And the response has been very positive.
We need to go. Last question. How soon should we see the desk physically deployed to the school?
So as I talk to you right now, at the launch 2 days ago, we received over 3,000 steady desks. And starting next week, I am going to do the distribution in an equitable manner in the region. So you will see me move from one administrative area doing a distribution of desks on need basis. as suggested to me by the technical, people within our education sector in my region.
So by mid-May, you would begin distributing these desks?
By next week.
Yeah, that's mid-May.
Yes,
that's
yes,
mid-May.
Yes.
So you'll be starting by mid-May. We wish you all the best. We'll come back in a year or two to see how you and your region have fared. Thank you so much for joining us on Face to Face. Joojo Obeng, Western North Regional Minister.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being a friend of One School Child, One Desk.
I support education, and I'm happy that you're doing this. And I wish the kids in Western North all the best. And I pray that the rich people in there would help you. You can go and see a few of them and ask them to give you financial support.
And Citi FM is also, Citi TV is also calling on its viewers to not stay far away from the region, but to also come to us with donations. We are ever ready and prepared to acknowledge them.
You just did a promotion on CCTV. The sales manager will
For
get you.
One School Child, One Desk.
That would be it for Face to Face today. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Do stay with us for the next edition next week, but keep watching Citi TV. It's your world.
Your Saturdays just got frisky. This Saturday, Citi TV brings to your screens the matriarch of all entertainment shows, The Chat. The most dynamic panelists in the Ghanaian showbiz industry will bring the D to this entertainment discourse.
When you take a certain percentage of someone else's song, you see clearance. And clearly this one, it's more than 8 bars.
We discovered her. I think we watched one YouTube. We're like, nah, this girl, let's put her on.
It.
And from that time till now, I have seen super growth.
There are so many streaming platforms here in Ghana. If you go on either iOS app, like Apple Store or Google Play Store, there are so many apps owned by Ghanaians.
It'll be a red couch sitting full of conversations and updates on what your favorite entertainment personalities have been up to.
So I'm saying that anybody that wants to fix Kwame Eugene according to my kind of music, my kind of style, my kind of dressing, my kind of attitude, anything, you try as much as possible to fix yourself first before you fix me.
What are they doing? Who are they doing it with? And what trends have us fixated? We'll bring you up to speed. It will be an evening of artistic appreciation, indispensable hype, aesthetic punctuation, and the everything of the music and movie industries in Ghana, the African continent, and beyond. So grab some popcorn, get comfy, and join me, AJ Akwako Sapon, on the most riveting entertainment show in Ghana, The Chat comes your way this and every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. only on Citi TV.